I don't want people to confuse it as, oh, he just matured and grew up. No, that's not it.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's a difference between grieving your youth versus grieving just a shift in somebody's like cognitive abilities.
Because I'm different too from when we first met. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not as crazy, I'm not as loud, I'm not as angry and stuff like that. But the essence and the core of who I am is still there, right?
Totally.
Like how I respond to certain things, right? Yeah. Genius Brain listeners, this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. Mental health is mental wealth, and Genius Brain is all about that. Remember, everybody, October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And this year, BetterHelp is shining the spotlight on therapists who truly make the world a better place. If you feel comfortable sharing a moment of therapy, guess what? I'm here to do it too. I'm here to show some appreciation. That's right. Mental health has helped me so much. And because of the therapists I've had in my life, I've become a better person for it. And remember, BetterHelp is here for you too. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform that has served over 5 million people globally. So this World's Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/genius. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/genius. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Special guest, you stupid bitches. You get to see Robyn couch from the front and not the back. It is an ongoing joke that we've been having on all of our podcasts is to talk about her big, fat, juicy ass.
Thank you.
Because I've been trying to get her to open up an OnlyFans, dude.
If I didn't have principles and I was a little more desperate, I might. Not that they don't have principles, but like for me.
No, you said it, dude. You hate them.
No, I respect sex workers and the choices they make.
Dude, that's such a good answer, dude. Have you been seeing these? It's such a weird time now where I feel like the conversation of that, like the OnlyFans thing, like, there is, what is that movement? But it's just where they go, sex work is real work, right? Which is, it's work. I get it, you know? Yeah. But I don't know, it's the weird conversation of like when you ask somebody who is so adamantly defending sex work, which I don't really think much about it, right? Like if it's out of sight, out of mind for me.
Sure.
But I saw these interviews where they're just like asking him, it's like, do you think, like, how do you feel about the sex work that you do? Not that one podcast where there's this, it's like a group of guys versus a group of girls, and they always interview
I think I know what you're talking about. Those clips always infuriate me.
Well, they always interview, like, listen, no offense to those girls, right? But you're kind of dumb. You know what I mean? It's like the lowest IQ women on earth, you know, who can't explain either what they're thinking or how they feel.
I would like to say just because somebody wins an argument doesn't mean they're right. All it means is that they're better at arguing than you. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that those women were probably necessarily dumb. They might just not be good at arguing, because I'm very bad at arguing, but sometimes I'm just like, no, but like I know I'm right and I just can't, like I get flustered.
No, they're dumb. But
all right. Sorry, ladies, I tried.
But it's just like, I'm just like, okay, even if I don't agree with somebody, I still like hearing their thought process, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, I guess like sometimes the answer is just like when they respond, it's like, just because. And I'm like, why are you here? Yeah. Like, what did you think was going to happen? You know what I mean? Because in my mind too, it's just like, is that an arrogance in a person where they think like, okay, if I'm on this platform, I'm about my shit, I can therefore stand toe to toe with this person. It's like, but like you said, debating is a skill set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're not prepared, why did you come here?
Yeah. Like, debating is definitely a skill set. It's the same with like, that's what lawyers are trained to do. Like there are those scumbag like defense lawyers that are defending a guy who clearly killed somebody and they somehow get them off. Like it's all just it's all fake. It's all a game.
Yeah. I always find it interesting too. And I always want to ask them, it's like, like I said, this is just me kind of just thinking on the top of my head, you know, especially when I'm high, I think about this. Like if I ask them, hey, what do you think about your work, right? And they said, if you had a daughter or a son who wanted to do what you did for a living, starting from the jump, like they're 2-3 years old, would you recommend it? Yes or no, right? And I'm always kind of curious about that answer, because there was one thing that somebody brought up in a video that I didn't think about as an angle. It's like he asked one of these girls who she was kind of left silent. He goes, I guess I don't like sometimes the approach of how people talk to them, right? Because they're still people, right?
Yeah.
Whether you think what their stuff is immoral or immoral or whatever, whatnot, when you have a conversation, you should be able to talk to them as a person, because you're never going to get to somebody by shouting at them and belittling them, right?
No, never.
Right? So, but he asked him, it's like, okay, once again, I didn't like his approach, but I did understand what he was saying. It's like, if you had a position where you were saying, could you bring your parents to your workplace?
Mm-hmm.
And would you be proud of it? And then she was like dead silent, right? He goes, that's the difference between me and you. If I brought my parents to where I work or somebody that I care about to where I work, I could do that and they could share it with other people without shame, right? Could you do that with yours? And then she was dead silent. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that perspective either, you know, which is kind of interesting.
That's tough because I do see that side of it, but I also see the side of most sex work where especially like I'm not sure like prostitution specifically, like I think we do need regulations though because people are going to do it. And I also think if porn is legal, why is like that sex work illegal? Because to me it's just like you're paying two people to have sex on camera versus paying somebody to have sex with you. To me, they don't feel far enough apart for one to be legal and one to not be legal. But we also could regulate it more to keep people safe. And I think sex will always be an industry. And so it's one of those things where like, I think then it just leaves it up to the individual person. But
I think the hard part about that is like when you leave things like unregulated, and you know, we've kind of seen this a lot, especially like with like drugs, right? Like X amount of programs that we've seen, you know, just because I know a lot of my friends who do drugs, who kind of sobered up. Yeah. It's like the idea of like accessible drugs, they're going to get it anyway, so you might as well get it to them free. It hasn't worked, right? And I was very hopeful for it, you know? Especially for my friends who live out in Seattle and Portland, and they're like, it's gotten 10 times worse. They get the free shit and they get the dirty shit too. So they just double up. So it's you know what I mean? Because you're an addict. You're not expecting them. I think like the one fault about that is that you think like they're going to be sensible. And you know, when you're an addict, like no matter what you're addicted to, whether it's food, this and that, sensibility is out the fucking
Your end goal is to get the thing that you need, and sadly, oftentimes you're not paying attention to who your shrapnel is hitting while you're trying to get there.
Yeah. I think that's the hard part too, is just that there's that human factor, right? Because if we look at like addiction, like, you know, I've like been addicted to food forever. There's no fucking way. Like for example, yesterday, I was eating tacos. Right?
That was the first thing you said to me this morning.
Yeah, I know. I should have just eaten the mulita and the vampiro, and it's hefty, right? But me like food, right? So me got a little more than I should have. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this is something that's just food, which people find very harmless, right? Now, if you have something that's more of an addictive substance, well, some people can argue that food is even more addictive. I'm not a part of that, but you know, like you kind of delete the human sensibility out of it. It's like I guess like for me, when I was thinking about it, I didn't think about, oh, if they can get it here, they'll also get it elsewhere too. And they're just going to do double the amount. Yeah. Which has kind of happened. And so my friend who was also a junkie, he's now clean. He found out a way to get clean he's addicted to adrenaline and shit, like high exciting shit.
That's a really common thing for addicts to switch to becoming adrenaline junkies or...
Yeah, he switched to rock climbing.
Yeah, like it's very common to switch addictions. A lot of people do get really addicted to certain physical activities like working out or things like that. I have heard that it's very common to just swap it for something that is seemingly not damaging you.
Yeah, he has an addictive... when he gets into some shit, man, he's fucking into it. So he kicked it by doing rock climbing and obviously a lot of other stuff too. Like
how long has he been clean?
7 years. I want to say 7.
Good for you, dude, out there.
Yeah.
Respect.
And when he was out, you know, out in like Seattle, they ran that. I'm not sure if people in Seattle know this or when it was ran, but it was like a program where you can get clean drugs or whatnot. Or was it Portland? Either way, it's one of those cities. This was years ago. We had this conversation, but he says like, yeah, I just doubled up on my shit. Yeah, like no, I was like anybody who was on that nobody got better. Like nobody did. And he was like, it's like you're expecting us to have self-control. Like we're here because we don't have self-control.
To me, I think the thing with that though is I think it's less about like reducing or like healing addicts. I think it's a little bit more about extending the likelihood of them like not overdosing and dying from like a fentanyl thing or something like that.
It's like they do either way.
Even so doubling up.
They just double up. So that was the thing that he saw. It was like, oh, you think that just because we get it here, that's it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like also too, it's like the shit that we get from is not enough for us. Like this is our quick hit. It's like how he described it to me is like, okay, I want to smoke cigarettes, right? Cool. I got it from this place. They give me 2 cigarettes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean? Yeah.
I need a pack.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm just gonna touch up here and then I'm gonna get my other hardcore shit elsewhere. Yeah. It's like, oh fuck, I didn't even think about that.
It's so tough. But what I think, I mean, addiction is its own monster, and I've never had a drug addiction, so I can't speak to that personally. But I think also people should be allowed to experiment with drugs safely without dying. So everybody should carry Narcan. This is my little PSA. Everybody should carry Narcan just in case. I mean, like, I'm not around that very much, but if I'm at a bar in like Hollywood or something and somebody collapses, you can also give somebody Narcan even if they don't need it and you're not sure why and it won't hurt them, which I think is really cool.
I think that's, to me, it's just more like, don't do it. It's hard to say, but it's just like, you know, personal responsibility is a huge thing for me, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out a way where it's just like, we shouldn't have to carry Narcan everywhere for you. Yeah, I mean, like, it's nice to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you don't, it's like, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying that everybody should just be, like, waking up every morning and blowing lines in a fentanyl-free world. You know, that's not what I'm saying. But, like, I do think you should be allowed to, like, do a line of coke at a party and not keel over from a fentanyl overdose or purchase, like, some Xanax on the street just because you are exhausted and need to go to sleep and not keel over from a fentanyl overdose. Because, like,
you can get Xanax pretty easy.
So, like, that's just my thing. Like, your one small decision at a party shouldn't cost you your life for just, like, trying to have a good time. And then if you have addictive tendencies or addiction runs in your family, that's a whole other conversation. But
yeah, I've been around drugs my whole life and I don't like the way it is. Like, it's, you know, I think there's a very good, like, idealization of how people can control drugs. But because I've seen crack, cocaine, fentanyl fucking ruin everybody's life. And mind you, these are people who are just, it started off in college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a very romanticized image of the party life that is presented in films. Even, like, crazy, fucked up, dark films like Requiem for a Dream. There's still something, have you seen that?
Yeah.
There's still something kind of, like, a little sparkly about the way it was presented. Even though it's so fucked up, there's certain elements of it that I still feel like are, like, intriguing to people.
Yeah.
So I think people think that's what's going to happen when in reality you can, like, you're destroy your life and health.
And, like, drugs
family.
too. Like, I don't know if, like, how much people have done. Like, I never did any of the hardcore shit, right? But I smoked, right? I actually don't even think weed is for everybody. Yeah. Because if you're not in a good place and you do anything like mind altering, it's just not a good time. And I've seen weed, people who have, like, high anxiety and paranoia. Dude, it is a horrendous trip for them. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, dude. That's why, like, drugs for me is always one of those things, just because, like, when I grew up, you know, like, it's just like everybody was doing that shit. And I think even now too, right? But just I've seen it ruin so many people's lives. It's just like, and then, like I said, when they started, it was just because somebody started it at a party and it just derailed them, right? And it's not just like one or two people, right? If it was like seldom and few and far between, I'd understand, right? Yeah. And I know, like, the party life in Los Angeles, what I see a lot of what happens is the whole thing of, like, oh, I just do it occasionally. And then occasionally it turns into something else, and then something else, and then something else. And I've seen that more times than I can count on my hands, right? Which is pretty fucking insane, right? Like, I have a great example. There was somebody that I know that dated this girl. Mm-hmm. And this is really close by, and we still kick it to this day. She's nothing wrong in her life, perfectly fine. She goes off to college, meets a guy, van life dude. He's doing some hardcore drugs. Dude, she's, like, currently right now in rehab. This is a girl who never did a fucking drug in her life. Wow. Right? And I've seen that happen so many fucking times. So it's just like, damn, like, what is it about it that just fucks you up so fucking bad? Right? Is it the peer pressure part? Is it the fact that she was around somebody that did every day and they romanticized that feeling that they had when they did drugs? Like, what, because I won't get to that point. Yeah. Right. So I wonder what the personality set is that allows this thing to derail people's lives so hard.
I mean, for certain drugs, I do know, like, crystal meth is one of the most addictive drugs because of the way it rewires your brain and the way I forget exactly the science behind it, but it's something like, especially also with, like, opiates too. Like, it, like, you do it, it triggers your, like, dopamine receptors, and then you get, like, either more receptors or less. I forget how it works, but basically, like, it's literally rewiring your brain to need more of it. And they've done, like, a lot of brain scans of, especially if anybody's read or they touch on it in the movie Beautiful Boy that came out a few years ago about the true story of Nick Sheff and how his dad was trying to help him with his drug addiction. But he literally went to a neurologist. And he also did do crystal meth one evening just to understand what his son was experiencing. Yeah, he, like, went and bought some and did it. But yeah, the more you do it, the more it like erodes your brain. And there are certain points where doctors are saying like this person cannot heal their brain. Their brain is beyond repair at this point.
That's crazy.
And it's a neurological thing. So I think there is like an addict gene that makes you just like really quick to
like addictive personalities. Yeah.
They also say like genetics loads the gun and environment pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
So you could have that and just never have it like release. But I do think outside of that, there are just certain drugs that like, because me, I don't necessarily have an addictive personality, but I'm not going to go do crystal meth because I think I won't get addicted to it. Like that science has proven that that'll mess with my brain, you know?
Genius Brain listeners, this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp has been a longtime sponsor of the Genius Brain podcast because I use it and it's fantastic. What do I say, my friends? Mental health is mental wealth. And remember, October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And this year, we're saying thank you to therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone to take step forwards to moments in therapy, like, I don't know, asking the right questions, a safe space to cry, or even small wins. And guess what? These things can change lives. And my friends, I'm telling you right now, BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the US, so you have nothing to worry about. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform that is here for you. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/genius. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/genius. I've known dudes who did when I was growing up at the time, like dropping E was like the thing, right? And it's now too, but it's a little more, it's better apparently from what I've heard from my friends who still do it when they go to whatever, EDC or whatever the fuck not.
Yeah.
But they say it's more precise and, they're just scientifically it's just a lot better. But, when people were there's some dudes I know to this day, they're functioning and stuff. But when they started doing I don't know if it burned a hole in their fucking brain or whatever, whatnot, but they were doing it all the time. But they became almost numb to emotion a little bit for a bit. I don't know if it's because of that dopamine that's constantly released from doing E or some shit like that.
What E does is it makes all of your the storage of serotonin in your brain flood. That's why if you and I did E right now, tomorrow we would both be feeling very depressed because our brain has no more serotonin in it and we have to replenish. So if you're constantly doing it, your brain probably slowly, I haven't read into that if you're constantly doing it. I just know that because I've been told I don't have enough serotonin in my day life. So don't do E because you'll run out and you'll be a mess. But
let's just call this guy Chuck, right? Chuck, he's married, has a kid or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I remember what he was like before he started dropping. He was doing a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And it was because when he was in school, everybody was doing it, right? And he's older than me. He was in college. And then I think for him, it just became a part of the lifestyle because he was super into EDM music and shit like that. Yeah. But he did it excessively.
Wow.
And when I describe to his wife, the stuff that we used to do back in the day and kick, he's like, that doesn't sound like my husband at all. He's he's so mellow and doesn't, I was like, yeah, but that was before he was just fucking dropping ass and doing E all the time. Wow. And so now he's kind of he knows this too. He's like, yeah, I just kind of everything feels like this to me. Mm. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, sometimes for his wife, I wish he would have met how he was before he started doing this shit. You know what I mean? He's different. You know what I mean?
That's sad. I think grieving a person who's still alive in any capacity is heartbreaking in a way. I think we most commonly talk about that when talking about people with Alzheimer's or dementia, but even just grieving somebody whose personality is altered. I've even heard stories of people who, because in your early 20s is often when mental illness is set in, so that's when a lot of people can have a psychotic break if they're going to develop schizophrenia or something like that.
Oh, I've seen that.
And I've heard stories of someone having a psychotic break, having the whole rigmarole, then getting on medication, but they were never quite the same again. And that just would break my heart. There's so many people in my life that I love that, I would still love them, of course, but if they were different after something like that, I would miss my friend.
Yeah. It's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if other people have felt this, but it's just you kind of hang out with them and they're physically there, but then you're attached to who they were before.
Yeah.
And it's not we don't have decent conversations or whatever. And it's not, I don't want people to confuse it as, oh, he just matured and grew up. No, that's not it.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's a difference between grieving your youth versus grieving just a shift in somebody's like cognitive abilities.
Because I'm different too from when we first met. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not as crazy, I'm not as loud, I'm not as angry and stuff like that. But the essence and the core of who I am is still there, right?
Totally.
Like how I respond to certain things, right? Yeah. He's different, and he knows it too. He's like, yeah, like sometimes I look at it as a good and bad thing. I feel like when I was younger, I was like a little too crazy, and this thing kind of mellowed me out. But he's just like, but the way I like get happy or feel for things is I need a lot more. You know what I mean? So, and he attributes to that time where he was just dropping me all the fucking time.
Has he ever considered seeing a psychiatrist for antidepressants? That might help.
I don't know. Like, he says he's fine. It's just more like, it just takes a little more, right? Ever since that whole thing that happened. And he said there was a point after he stopped doing the drugs that he was doing that he said he almost felt emotionless for like half a year.
Wow.
Like, he felt like he couldn't feel anything.
That's scary.
I was like, holy shit.
That's really scary.
He said it scared him a little bit too. And then after a while, he started feeling a little bit normal, but just never back to where he was before.
I mean, I can also understand that because, like, I've never done E or anything like that, but it heightens your whole existence. So if you're living in that heightened state, let's say 80% of the time, because you're doing it so much, I can totally see how life would feel so boring. Similarly to like a little bit like the attention span thing we have these days. Like, of course, like people can't sit and like just exist and be present in life because we're constantly being flooded things like this. Like, that feels so boring.
Yeah.
Like, if you're living in this heightened state where like everything feels so amazing and like like senses feel great and like colors are bright, you are flooded with happiness, and then you have to live at our homeostasis.
Yeah,
that would feel
I'm very lucky I
as
don't
well.
have that crazy addictive personality like that. Because even when I smoke weed, right, like people ask like, oh, how often do you smoke? I was like, I only smoke at night because it's an aid to help me sleep.
Same. I use it mostly as an aid to sleep. Sometimes if I'm like at a party with friends, I might take a hit.
It's like drinking.
Yeah, I'm a very social drinker, and I'm a very like social smoker outside of using it when I can't sleep. But
like with my buddy Robyn, we smoke, right? But that's because that's my buddy.
Yeah.
We're really close and we'll smoke with each other, right? I feel very comfortable and safe with them. But it's like if somebody I don't know is like, oh, we're going to smoke, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just to help me sleep and get me, because it's positioned in my life in a very specific way, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have that thing where it's like, I need to smoke to feel like I'm at normal base, right?
Yeah.
And I have a buddy like that now. And I'm just like, damn, how do you function in work? Like, I can't be like that. Like, it makes me into an idiot. Like, I'm just sitting there just with my mouth open.
Yeah, I'm a very slow responder when I'm high. Like, it takes me a long time to compute. Like, if you could just, like, in a movie zoom into my head, you would just see, like, the wheels, like, churning so slow because I'm just, like, I'm not in a place to like really have thoughtful critical thinking.
Dude, so I went to this lounge yesterday on the west side, and it's like a cigar lounge, but it's for weed. And they made it like a tropical thing. There's like a koi pond in the middle.
That's fun.
There's like multiple smoking rooms. It's an outdoor area covered in like in a canopy of trees. It's nice, especially when you're high as fuck. Yeah. And so we were there around nighttime. Everything's like candlelit, super cool.
Yeah.
And then they had this projector screen, and it was like a projector of like Kyoto and Osaka in Japan. Let me tell you something. 20 minutes, I was in Japan. I was in front of that screen, and I forgot where I fucking was. And it's so crazy too. Like when people who are really avid smokers, and you ask them for a recommendation, they know what's up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, because the place has a cover charge if you just want to kick it in there. Or if you want to smoke, it's like you have to spend $20 at least, right? Which I get. It's a lounge. You buy a product, fine, whatever. Like it's like drinking or something. So I go there, I buy my stuff, and I asked him, I was like, hey, I want something hybrid, a pre-roll that's super good. He goes, got it. Comes back. I take 3 puffs on this. I wasn't here anymore. I was like, this is way stronger than whatever I have at home.
Yeah.
This is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sat there. So I don't know. I like when I think about that, and in my highness, I'm like, damn, people who smoke this every day and they need this is their constant. It's like, damn, what kind of shit are you going through, man? Because you just feel numb.
I do feel concerned for people that have to move through their life completely high, who wake up and then when they say like, no, I'm fine, I can really function, it's just like, that's fair if that's how your body responds to it. But my question is, why can't you? Like, Why can't you exist in a day without it? If you can go a week without doing it and be fine, then live your life. But if you're like every day I wake up and smoke, I'm just like, okay, like why? Why don't you want to just like exist in a sober body? Yeah.
There's definitely something to it. You know, there's a couple I know that smokes every day, morning, day, and night. And when we had this conversation, when I got into smoking, and I was like, yeah, I smoke just to sleep. It's like, oh, how often do you smoke? And they're like, dude, morning, day, and night. And for them, it's like a stress relief thing, right? Yeah. They're stressed about their future, their household life, and they kind of use this as a way to take off the edge. And, you know, just me talking to him, I was like, he was just asking my opinion. And I was like, well, I can't do that because I need to figure out why I'm stressed. I got to figure out the source. Like, this cannot be an escape because it doesn't fix anything for me, right?
Yeah. So, it can be a reprieve if you're about to have a meltdown, you know, or something. Yeah. But
I'm more like this too. If I'm in a bad mood, this is how I am with drinking too. Like any type of substance that I use that's an upper or whatever.
Yeah.
If my mood is not good, I do not take the substance, right? Because I need to be in a good place. Yeah. It cannot be used as something as a device to help me escape my reality. I cannot do that, right? Yeah. I think it's just for me, it's just a lose-lose situation, right? Because I have to snap at it and I have to come back to reality. Yeah. So I got to fix the reality first, right? So let's say, for example, like, and my friends know this too. Something bad happens. I'm not in a good mood. Let's go drink. I'm like, no, that's the worst thing you could do for me. Yeah. Right? I want to feel what I feel. I want to experience, like, either if I'm sad or down, or I need to feel it, right? So I can get over it because I just keep pushing it away, right?
Yeah, I'm wired the same. My knee jerk if I'm in a shitty place isn't to smoke or drink or anything like that. I probably have my other like unhealthy coping mechanisms, but I definitely have never been like, let's go drink our troubles away. I also just don't enjoy not feeling in control of my body. Even when I am going through a tough time, I like to be in control. Like, I like to, feel like I have some sense of control over my being at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think, like, that part, too, is very important for me, right? Just because, like, I know what it feels like to kind of, when you have, like, high anxiety, you have that tendency to push things under the rug. It's like out of mind, out of sight. And then you kind of go about your day, but you still have to come back to that mess. And that mess gives you bigger anxiety, because it just builds, you know?
Yeah.
And then you think.
And all day it's like, every once in a while,
it's like nudging you. And then you try to push it away again. And I feel like because things like weed or like alcohol are so good at taking you away from it, but the mess is still there. And I don't want to deal with that part because dealing with the mess after you are extremely happy makes the mess even worse.
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst feeling on earth. And so I can't really do that. And I've also seen it the other way where it's like, you know, somebody drinks every day where, you know, it becomes like a point of like alcoholism too, where it's just like, oh, I need this now. I just don't want that in my fucking life. I think that's the part that fucking scares me is the addiction part.
Yeah. What do you think about these like kind of experiments for treating mental health conditions with mushrooms, psilocybin?
I think there's a huge place for it, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know exactly what I've listened to plenty of podcasts, right? But obviously the specific details are escaping my mind. But just from like the onset of what the drug was supposed to do and how it was created, I think it's a good path to see, right? Because PTSD is fucking nuts, right? Yeah. If you guys have seen somebody who has PTSD, it is so sad. Like it's, in terms of like, for me, what I've seen it was, let's call him Pete, right? Pete was in the military. He was, it was during the whole, still war in the Middle East, but he was there. Long story short, I don't know the military terms. His crew that he was with, right? His platoon or whatever. Yeah. He was a Marine. They all got deployed. His grandmother passed away. They allowed him to go back home. Okay. Everybody that got deployed in his team all died.
Wow.
They all died. He was the only one that survived. He went to the funeral, came back. He found it. Whatever happened, I don't know the exact specifics anymore. I don't want to misquote it. Dude, I saw his PTSD. His PTSD kicked in not from what he experienced, but the survivor's guilt.
That would fuck anybody up.
He's never been the same. He's not in the military anymore. He's medical leave, mental stuff. Like he just wrecked. Wow. Because it's like you see that one day, next day, everybody you care about died like that, and then you feel almost bad that you lived. And so he was different. And mind you, this guy was a dancer in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super funny, goofy guy, very talented. And that one PTSD moment, I don't know how he is now, but the last time I saw him, he was not doing very good.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff. So it's like if there's a route for him to fix that through whatever channels like shrooms and stuff, that would be great. Because I know people, Robyn, we talked about on a podcast, my other buddy Robyn, he did shrooms and it helped fix a lot of issues that he had. Mm-hmm. And what he was telling me about shrooms is that what it does for him and what I've heard from a lot of other people, it brings out things that you have been avoiding your whole life, and it brings it straight to your face and you can't run away from it. Yeah. So either you have to deal with it or it wrecks you. Mm-hmm. And so if you have an ability to come out on the other side, you're faced with this thing that you have to deal with. And for him, it was like being a liar and being having these terrible habits that he's always like ignored. So it's like, before I tried to figure out what happened in my divorce and everything else, there was things that I have to be responsible for first. And that was the part that he had to face,
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard it framed exactly like that. But I definitely think there's a lot to be looked into, even when people are talking about testing microdosing LSD too. They're starting to do some of that. I find it just all really fascinating to utilize hallucinogenics to treat a mental illness. And I microdosed for a little while with shrooms to treat depression and anxiety. And I did feel a difference. Like it felt just like the little 3 notches up that my brain just lacks when it's on nothing.
Yeah, these are one of those type of drugs too, where I feel like, just to go back to what we were talking about, having drugs done in a safe space, this is something where in a therapeutic form, I feel like it could be dialed in and done in a way. Yeah. Because it's something that can be assessed by metrics. Yeah. Right? Which is, I think if it could be used in a form of like an extensive form of therapy for people who need it, for like people like PTSD or and et cetera, I think that would be a great movement. Right? Yeah. Like I said, just because you can quantify it. Right. Yeah. So that parameters of making it safe makes sense to me. And we've had people who have used it who have fixed their lives. Now, there's the other side of like what ayahuasca. Oh, yeah. I know 2 cases where it turned out really bad. I don't know what the difference is. They're both
between ayahuasca and shrooms?
Yeah, shrooms and then LSD. Is that the same?
No, I believe LSD, and I could be wrong, but I believe LSD is like man-made through like chemicals, and ayahuasca and shrooms are both like natural.
It's like a wood or something like that, or something.
Yeah, ayahuasca.
But does it do the same thing? I'm curious.
I mean, they're all hallucinogenics. I haven't done all 3, so I can't say. But ayahuasca, I do know that ayahuasca, one of the components in ayahuasca is DMT, which you can smoke alone.
DMT, yeah.
And DMT is also one of the chemicals your brain produces when you dream. Oh. So, and if you want to get into, from what I understand about ayahuasca and like the indigenous origins, they believe that ayahuasca, there's like Mama Ayahuasca. She's like kind of the spirit that helps like give you what you need, from what I understand, from what I read about it. But that's why I also think ayahuasca can be tricky, because in LA, I think there are a lot of people that do ayahuasca ceremonies that aren't like authentic. So I also feel like that's something to be careful about.
Because they're, you have like somebody who kind of walks you through it and stuff like that.
You're supposed to have a shaman.
Once somebody says shaman, I'm like, I'm good. Like if I gotta have some spiritual wolf like walk me through this, that's scary as shit to me. Like I'm not trying to experience that shit. That's fucking nuts.
Oh, see, I've heard like people have an ego death in those things, and I want an ego death.
That's really what the shrooms does too.
Yeah, like you can do it with I think a couple of things, and they also have ceremonies where you can do shroom things. What I'm really interested in is utilizing these things in some sort of ceremony, because like have you read or heard of The Body Keeps the Score? Mm-mm. It's all about how like trauma and even just like emotions get stored in the body. So like, if you constantly have like a shoulder issue, it could not necessarily just be like a physical thing. It could be like trauma stored in the body. And a lot of people also have like, there are also instances where like if you ever get acupuncture, like acupuncturists will have stories of like going into one spot and somebody just like bursting into tears because it's like releasing these stored emotions in the body. So there's other ways where you can like blend these two to like have these experiences, and also like through somatic healing in the body, release stored trauma.
I believe that to a certain. I never say no to things that I'm skeptical about, because I feel like there's so much stuff we don't know, you know, and there has to be. I don't know necessarily has to be, but there's been so many times where people have been saying things aren't real, but it turned out there's some truth into it, right? We just don't know. And I think that's fascinating. One thing I find very funny though is like the Hollywood thing where they do this and they just start screaming out of nowhere. That shit cracks me the fuck up.
I don't know much about that.
That one is, well, I think I first saw it from like Gwyneth Paltrow, which already is sus.
I don't believe anything she does.
Yeah, fucking stones in your pussy type of shit.
She's the person that I'm just like, she gives a bad name to the side of it that has, I think, some realism to it. She plays into the stereotype that shuts down the idea for a lot of people.
Like you'll see this where they do like the retreats and then somebody just puts their hands over them and they start body waving and screaming. Ah! Yeah. And I always look at that, it's like, how come it only works for rich people?
Because they can afford it.
Yeah, how come it doesn't work for like just regular folks with like regular jobs? It only works for rich people. That's so fascinating. Yeah. You know? And then you see like the price, it's like $10,000. I'm like, oh,
dude,
okay.
It's crazy.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
But I will say, I believe this is a story in The Body Keeps the Score, or I could be pulling it from somewhere else, but there was a woman who, the guy who wrote it, studied, and have you heard of anesthesia awareness?
Yes.
She had surgery and experienced that, but she didn't remember it when she woke up, but she was experiencing PTSD symptoms after waking up from her surgery and healing, and nobody could figure out where they were coming from or what was happening. But she started to experience PTSD in her body. She started having all of these issues with her body. And it got to the point where when they finally were able to like uncover those memories of her waking up in surgery and like feeling it, it made everything make sense. But her mind couldn't remember, but her body like knew that this thing happened to her.
I mean, I think like that's pretty typical in anything, right? Like just from a basic stance, it's like you get a water balloon thrown at your fucking head and it was traumatizing for you. You see an object move next to you, you know, you immediately feel that pain. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Oh no. The human body fucking fascinates me, man. Like when especially when you're high, like you just think about not crazy, but it's like stuff that you kind of glaze over. Yeah. You get really in depth into the why of things.
I think about stupid shit. Like one time I was high one evening and I sent my friend a message and I was just like, have you ever thought about how blankets only work because we have body heat?
This is what I'm talking about.
It's so stupid.
But that's still intricate though. You know what I mean? It's like you could say like blanket keeps me warm. That's a normal thought.
Yeah.
And then when you get into this level of being high, you think of that shit.
I was like, if you wrap a blanket around like a chair, it's gonna be cold, guys.
Yeah. And then you're just like, I bet you as you're thinking, it's like, dude, this is some mind-blowing shit. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah. No, I usually get like some anxiety after because I'm just like, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Well, that was me too in general.
Hey, look who's here.
And there's Ed. We'll wrap this up soon. But you know, when I was like thinking, like that's why yesterday I was thinking about the whole like sex work thing, right? I'm like, I would never think about that in general because I'm not in sex work, right?
You're not?
Listen, tell you, if I could be. And then it got to the thought of like, okay, what would make them do that, right? Or why do they think that this is something that they should be proud of, right? Because we're taught that you're not supposed to be, right? And I think for me, just growing up too, like I boil it down to when I was like in my highness, I was like, yeah, if my son or a daughter would be like, I want to go in this S word, I'd probably say no, right? And I think for me, boiling it down to it is just like, I respect what the mind does over the body tenfold. So it's a value thing, right? And how people value on something that's very fleeting, such as your physical appearance and what they can physically do to you as a commodity is not something that I appreciate, right? So I think because that also went to a thought of like why there's certain like these hot girls that want to be much more than being hot, right? It's like it kind of goes, it teeters along that logic for me, right? Where it's just like they always go, well, I'm more. It's like, well, look at what you're selling though. You're mad at people for only expecting this thing out of your physicality when this is the only thing you present. Yeah. And then you're mad at the audience for not knowing that you're more. It's like, well, what are you selling? I only buy what you sell. So if you sell this and then you go, I'm much more than, I don't give a shit. It's not what you sold me on. You know what I mean?
It's tough because like we're in a, filled with the female gaze in society and all of the twisted ways, especially in Western culture, we view sex because there are even like periods of time or even like other cultures in like remote areas where like sex is not taboo and it's not viewed that way. And I'm always curious as to how something like sex work if that stance evolved with us of sex not being taboo, not being anything strange, like, or shielded from people.
I think a lot of stuff evolved just from anything goes back to the one thing of survival success, right? What was valued and what it did to like strengthen units. I think that's what they keep. I think that's kind of like how religion works too. You know what I mean? It's like
religion is also why we're so fucked up about sex in Western culture.
True, but then I'm saying that religion is like one of those things where I look at it as like you keep things that are beneficial for you, you throw away things that aren't, right? Whether it's for power or whether we disagree with it or not. All religions gave structure, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a survival thing is what I think, right? So they probably figured out this part is not good for survival and it evolved that way. That's just how I think during my highness anyways. You know what I mean? So maybe that's where it came from. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. I literally just wanted to talk about this because in my highness, I thought about this yesterday and it was fantastic. You guys can catch Genius Brains every Sundays at 12 p.m. Hope you guys enjoyed that very fucking weird conversation. That's Robyn Couch. You're seeing her from the front today. We'll see you all next time. Peace.